So let's go ahead and get this started. Hi, everybody. Again, I'm Dr. Maureen Hayes from Galveston, Texas, and I'm joined by the regulars, Jim and Ann Glenn from San Antonio, Texas. Jim is our big money man, and Ann is our nutritionist and personal trainer. I'm by training an anesthesiologist and pain specialist, but for the past almost 12 years, I've been educating people about this health science breakthrough called redox signaling molecules. Now, these things are nothing short of a miracle. This is something that was said to be impossible to stabilize these molecules outside of the body. They're found in every one of your trillions of cells, and they literally are the communication between your cells. They turn things on, they turn on different processes, they turn on genes, they cause a cascade effect through the body that leads to increased resilience to stress and overall wellness. And all of us, all of the people on this call, were introduced in one way or another and decided to make it their mission to educate others about this. You're going to hear some amazing stories today. And these people who are on, our special guest tonight, are living legends in ASEA. And we are so fortunate and blessed to have them here with us tonight. I'm going to ask Ed Weens, who is a good friend of mine. I'm good friends with all of these people. They're just amazing. But Ed, I've known for a long time. He's been a mentor of mine. He's a pastor in a previous life, still kind of is a minister to us in just a different way. And he has built an amazing team and has brought all of these people on board. So Ed, take it away. If you wouldn't mind introducing us to all of your team members and giving us a little bit of background, that'd be fantastic.
Thank you, Maureen, Dr. Hayes. It's great to be with you and Jim and Ann Glenn. I think the rest of us combined might be almost as smart as Maureen, but probably not. It's great to be with you, Maureen. Thank you so much for the introduction. And I would like to just briefly mention who my distinguished panelists are that have joined me here tonight from different parts of the world, really. So I don't know how the images are configured on your screen, but I've got my sort of Hollywood square screen in front of me here. So I'll just say we got Bart Cotter. Raise your hand, Bart. This is Bart Cotter coming in. He's an American boy that's living in Australia, down in Queensland, Australia. It's great that Bart and I have been friends a long time, and great to have him here tonight. Mr. Dan Doyle, who's a displaced Australian. Wave your hand, Dan. He's from Australia, but he's somewhere tonight. I'm not sure if he's in Cabo or Mexico or the States or where he might be on the planet, but great to have Dan Doyle. You'll hear from him tonight. Mr. Mal Sword is also an Australian, but he's probably maybe coming to us from Phoenix. I'm just guessing, somewhere in that neck of the woods. And then Mr. Jerry Yerke's up in my upper right. He's coming probably from Santa Monica, California, where he is from. So, it's interesting. I was of course, we're talking tonight about the company that we're all associated with that Maureen has just alluded to technologically. The company called ASEA, and but I got to thinking about the collective experience that's represented in this group here tonight. Just the five of us that are going to be sort of sharing this conversation. If you added up all of the years of experience that we have in this industry, this network marketing industry, I think we're at about 150 years, just between the five of us, which means we're old, some of us, and it means we've just been around a while and fortunate enough to discover this opportunity, this concept, some of us way back even before it was even defined legally. And here we are, we've all kind of found our niche here, found our home. But I'm going to go around the horn and just have each of them give you just a little bit of a professional background. Some of you that are watching this tonight, either live or recorded, you may be in a real evaluation mode. And somebody's asked you to look at this to maybe consider whether or not this would be something you would want to devote a little attention to, a little perhaps embrace it on the product side or the business side or both. And we understand that. We've all been at that beginning of that discovery pathway with this company. And for various reasons, it really kind of caught our attention, turned our head a little bit. And here we are now, many years combined again, even just with this company. But we want to be able to help you get a feel for, with all of the background that we've had, what is it about this company, this opportunity, this product that caught our attention and what's different about it and sort of what's happened in our experience. So Maureen mentioned, I'm a missionary's kid, grew up on the mission field, and I sort of followed my parents' footsteps, spent the first 20 years of my life post-college in sort of that world, in the church world, working in nonprofits, social service nonprofits, actual formal churches, and found this opportunity, gosh, over 40 years ago. I've been involved in network marketing for 41 years, full time for 31 years. People used to have always asked me, why would you leave ministry to go into business? I said, I didn't leave it. I just changed the way I get paid to do it. And so this has kind of become my vehicle to be able to fulfill the calling, if you will, or the desire that I've had, my whole life. So that's kind of my background. Let me go to Bart. Bart from Queensland. I know you just had a meeting today. This is your morning time. No, what time is it for you there now, Bart?
It's 11 a.m. tomorrow, and I can tell you tomorrow is a beautiful day.
Okay.
Our
So Bart,
meeting's after this, but but I'm here to Dr. Debbie Ball's office. We're going to do a presentation. She's a chiropractor here in the little town of Bundaberg, Australia.
Fantastic. Just give us a little synopsis of where your background was prior to your network marketing experience.
Yep. So my background had been in sales and marketing. Actually, I was the business representative for the U.S. Chamber of Commerce in Maui, Hawaii. Actually, at the time when I heard about a SEA, when I was introduced to network marketing, I should say. And so I've been in for 30 years. And the question was about network marketing, right? Or about
well,
SEA?
just kind of what your background was. Well, we'll get to the network marketing part of it, but where you came professionally, where you came from when you kind of came into this industry was, you mentioned the Chamber of Commerce.
Yep. So, I was talking with business owners about working to protect and defend free enterprise against the evils of overtaxation and regulation.
Yeah. Boy, what a timely theme that still is today. So we're kind of connecting the dots here as well, just in the way the word of mouth spread with the C. I came to Bart. I didn't know. I knew Bart. I didn't know Danny. Bart knew Danny from previous contacts, and so Danny, where were you? What was your background professionally prior to kind of sinking your teeth into network marketing?
Yeah, so I grew up hating school, Ed. I knew that the education system wasn't going to do me any favors. Never did my homework, distracted myself from playing sports, played many sports, got into bodybuilding. Guys, at the age of 13, I started picking up weights, hobby, fishing, love fishing, as a couple of these good friends of mine do. I got into traditional business at the age of 21. And I didn't know at that time that I would literally become very good at building and selling traditional businesses from inception. So I built business in the construction industry, security industry, health and fitness industry, hospitality, motor vehicle industry, employed about 3,000 people over a 20-year period, did really, really well in traditional business. After corporate, which I realized I didn't want to exchange time for money anymore. But sort of all the way through my life, I knew I needed to build a business or get into something where I was making money while I was sleeping. I partially got into that when I was in the security industry because I had security guards working 24/7, but I found I had to stay up and work 24/7 myself. So yeah, it was a great lesson in life with everything that I'd been through, which fortunately with what I went through with losing my health, that's another story which we'll talk about, brought me into this incredible industry of network marketing, which I didn't believe in, and I can't believe I'm doing it, but I'm here with you guys, and it's an incredible purpose-filled mission. It's great to be on board.
I'll just mention that Dan is one of the highest-ranking associates in all the world of a CA. He's one of only 3 people that have reached the rank of presidential diamond. So that's a real, an amazing accomplishment. Bart is an ambassador at Diamond, soon to be knocking on the door of double ambassador, which is a great step up. So thank you, Dan. So let's go to Mal. Mal Sword. You're kind of an old dog like me, Mal. You've been around network marketing so long, you can hardly remember the history of what it was like before it. But you have been around this. To me, Mal, quite honestly, you're a legend in this industry. But I'd love to have you just give the folks a little bit of a synopsis of what you did before network marketing.
Sure. So my background was insurance, in sales, insurance and financial planning. And I did that for 12, 13 years in Australia, in Brisbane, Australia. And I kind of liked that. I kind of liked the industry. I worked ferociously hard, and typically my weeks in the 80s were 60 hours, 70 hours, 80 hours a week. And one of the main reasons that I moved to this industry was exactly what Doyley was saying, was that I had money, but I didn't have a life. And what I saw in this industry, which a lot of you will see if you really understand the potential of this business, is the ability to have time and money, the money to enjoy the time to enjoy the money. And I didn't have that in that industry. Of course, the other lesson I needed to learn was how to regulate, how to learn how to handle money. That was a kind of another lesson I had to learn. I was always very good at making money in the insurance industry, but I was even better at spending it. And so I had to learn that lesson. But my transition occurred because I wanted to have the freedom of time. And that was the reason I joined this industry, was to become free, totally free.
That's and we'll get into that a little bit more. I'm wearing a shirt tonight. You can see I got the word imagine on it and a little story behind why I even have the shirt. But I want you, if you're listening to to all of this, maybe for the first time and you're just processing that, I want you to unleash your imagination as you hear everything that you're going to hear tonight. What if it really is possible to have time freedom, time and money freedom? What if everything that you're hearing from this panel here tonight really is true and could be true for you? You've been gifted with an imagination far beyond what any other. No animal has an imagination. They all live by instinct, by survival and instinct. So you've got the ability to think outside the box, and we've all done that at some time in our life and still do. But I want you just to kind of unleash your imagination as to whether or not everything you're hearing about this company, product-wise and business opportunity-wise, could become reality for you. We think it can be, but you've got to believe that. So Jerry, you kind of come at this industry from a little different perspective. You have a really interesting past. And so give us a little synopsis of what Jerry's world was prior to network marketing.
Well, that definitely opens up to imagination. Thanks, Ed. First off, Redox 5, my favorite every single Friday. I can't thank all of you enough for what you do. Tremendous. And as you and I got a chance to talk briefly today, I'm so blessed to be on this panel. Dr. Maureen Hayes mentioned legends. There's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 legends on here for sure. I feel a little bit like a gopher for the Beatles. There's a reason why I'm on this panel, why I'm with ASEA. Started out my career as a Domino's Pizza franchise owner, 7 stores, the largest in the state of Nevada. Did that for 16 years, and you don't own the franchise owns you. But I knew very early on that I was all about distribution. And when you own a franchise, you can only deliver a pizza or sell a hamburger literally within several miles of each store. And I just really was attracted to distribution. Somebody shared with me working out at a gym one day this concept of network marketing and global distribution. So I became a distributor. We call it an associate. I became a distributor about 6 to 8 years, had some success. And then while building in Southeast Asia, mainly Philippines, Korea, a couple other countries, I was asked to come on as a corporate executive. So the next 22 years, the majority of my experience has been on the executive side. Some startups, some medium-sized companies, as well as a billion-dollar company when I was consulting for them in Tokyo. But Maureen, Jim, and Ann, what really gets me excited about this tonight, as an executive of a company based in Austria, is where I met all of these gentlemen. They were distributors for a company. And you may have heard some of the stories. They never mentioned the name, nor do I. However, I thank God every single day for that company not making it, in our opinions, because that is why we're here today. And if it weren't for Dan Doyle, for 7 years, only contacted me 3 times. That was it. No pressure. But if it weren't for these gentlemen from a past experience, including you, Ed, I would not be here. And I'm just grateful, humbled to be a part of the team.
You've got the a unique perspective that the rest of us don't have, of having been on the corporate side of the network marketing world. And I know as we kind of unfold the conversation tonight, you'll get a chance to share a little bit about what's different about what you've seen here and what you know is the reality in a lot of other, corporate situations. But I think the message that I would really like to have come across tonight is that with all of the experiences that we've individually had, and all of us have had pretty significant success even prior to ASEA. There was something about this company that obviously turned our head. For some of us, a crucial component of that decision was circumstantial changes in our life that created the need to find something different than what we were doing. But I think we all had a template in our minds that we felt that another company that we wanted to get behind needed to fit, and there needed to be some elements in place, and there needed to be some things that weren't there, because we'd all seen, and it's no secret that we've seen the good, bad, and the ugly, and the real ugly of this industry, and all of the above exists. And that's not to knock the industry, because all of that exists in any industry. I don't care what it is, if it's the stock market business that you were in, Jim, or if it's in medicine or in the religious world, politics, education. There's the good, bad, and the ugly everywhere. But there had to be some things about this company that I know for me personally that had to be there for me to really feel like I could really sink my teeth into it. I heard about this company, by the way, when it was brand new. I'm thankful today for the phone call that I got from Chuck and Tammy Gates and some of the folks that kind of chimed in on those communications with me clear back in 2009. But I knew that companies in this industry have a very short lifespan. Typically, most of them don't have their second birthday. So I stood back and watched this company from a distance. I'm almost ashamed to say this, for almost 5 years before I decided, you know what, they're for real, and they're still around. And then I made the trip to headquarters and met Mr. Vertus Norton and Tyler and the executive team and realized that I had been somewhat negligent. So I would like to have each of you round robin a little bit and just kind of tell us, what is it about this company, this opportunity, or it might have been the product for you, Dan, I know it was. What got your attention here and kind of swung your focus this direction? Start with you, Bart.
Yeah, Ed, I can completely resonate with what you said. We'd been around the block a little bit, and I knew that I loved the industry because we had success in another company, and I tasted the freedom that this industry can provide. But things changed, and I just so I was looking for a new home. And Ed, I just got to tell you, I owe you a huge debt of gratitude for picking up the phone and saying, I think we better take a little closer look at this. You had taken a position kind of early on, hadn't done anything. I'd been approached many times, and almost too many times that I'm almost embarrassed about. But timing is everything. And I think with people, sometimes being hungry is the most motivating thing. And we were I was in a place where I needed to make a change, and I had to get it right. And so to answer your question, what I was looking for, or what you said, there's certain things you look for. Number one, I wanted to make sure that I was with a company that had a product or a technology that was something that was really special and unique. I was not interested in another superfood or another juice or, another vitamin, another CBD oil or whatever that was. And so when I looked into the Redox molecules, although I was skeptical at first, just thinking ASEA was some kind of special water, which it's not, it's way, way, way beyond that. Then I got so excited that I knew that this was something really special. But in order to get involved with a company, there were 3 things that had to check out for me. And that's why I was prepared to jump on an airplane and fly to Salt Lake. And I wanted to meet the founders. And I got to tell you, I was blown away when I met Tyler and Vertus, the executive team at ASEA. Matter of fact, I had tears in my eyes most of the day that I was trying to kind of hide because I knew I had found my home. I just had goosebumps everywhere. And the 3 things that I was looking for was integrity. And when Tyler just talked about the culture of the company, putting people and principles and purpose above the ego and the economic motivations. I knew that that was the right place. There's nothing wrong with making money, and he said that. There's nothing wrong with having a big ego, but if you have your ego in check and your motivations in check and put your principles above that, and that certainly resonated with what felt good to me. Also, there's a lot of companies that come and go, and and to realize, the stability of the company, the people behind it that had established this, that was a key factor for me to know that they were debt free in their first 8 months. They were, rock solid, basically. And then timing. I mean, the industry that we're involved with right now, health and wellness, particularly with the Redox technology, is whoa. I mean, the timing, you could not pick a better industry to be involved with right now, and also an industry where we can make a difference while we're making a living.
Yeah, great points. Circumstances were really unique for both of us. And I knew that when I called you that you, like me, had looked at this company or at least heard about it, but probably really hadn't given it its due. And I'll never forget that first meeting in Salt Lake City with you, listening to Vertus Norton, an amazingly innovative thinker, a big thinker, a brilliant strategist. And I remember when he kind of had you and I off to the side in the conference room, and he just said to us, he said, boys, he says, or maybe he might have said boys, we were boys to him. He said, I can tell you that if the world ever really figures out what we have here, we're another Apple computer. And he was saying that from a standpoint of understanding the bigness of what this is, not could be, but is going to be. We're not there yet. But we certainly were. He was way out ahead of where we even are today, and but that vision was instilled in me that day, and I know it was with you. And I think a lesson here for everybody to know is that it doesn't necessarily matter who you know, because you don't know the other people that you know. No, I didn't know Dan Doyle. You knew Dan, so you reached out to Dan. And so Dan, what was it for you? I know you had a health issue. Maybe speak to that, but you had a really unique aha experience that kind of lit this up for you. So tell us your experience.
Yeah, so I was introduced to the industry when I was 19, Network 21. Someone approached me. I didn't quite get the business model. A couple of years later in traditional business, somebody came into my bodybuilding shop and said, "Hey, Dan, got this incredible product. You should just buy it wholesale off me and stick it on your shelf." And I bought $5,000 worth of new image. This was all the way back in 1991, stuck it on the shelf, tried to sell it retail, didn't know the business model behind it, and half of it went off. So I had to throw it out. And then moving forward, was approached by guys like Mal back in the day from Amway, this way, that way. And I definitely run the other way because I didn't believe in the business model. If you came to me 13 years ago, Ed, and said to me, "Listen, I've got this product that can help you," or something to help with your financial anxiety, I would have never spoken to you again. So here we are talking about an industry that I would have never have got involved with. It's taught in every university in the US now, but I fell into it as a byproduct of losing my health. So back in the early 2000s, I was using that horrendous weed killer Roundup, and the rest is history in regards to my health. Went through 2.5 years of hospital visits and tried everything myself personally after the doctors told me to get my affairs in order to bring my health back. That point in my life, as I said earlier, I knew that I had to, and thank goodness, I did well with traditional business, so I didn't let school get in the way of good education. But, moving forward, I didn't understand where conventional medicine or the pharmaceutical industry was and what it was doing to us or what it could do to us and keep us in a cycle. And anyway, so I learned that the hard way. I learned that by getting sick and had these two horrendous issues. I did some research. I went and looked at things I didn't believe in, like naturopaths and chiropractors and osteopaths, and I thought all that was quackery. I had to flick the switch really quick there. I tried everything with an alkaline diet to help myself with my health. Reluctantly, I had friends come out of the woodwork from Zango and from Kangen Water and Isogenics and Life Vantage. And I did reluctantly use all their products for 2 years, reluctantly because I didn't want to buy it because they were selling it to me through a business model which I didn't believe in. So I took all these products religiously over 2 years. I was on this very clean alkaline diet. I looked about 20 to 30 years older than what I did when I first started, and the doctors were still telling me I was in trouble. October 2014, 10 years this October, Bart Cotter gives me a call. Sounds like a little kid in a lolly shop. I remember the phone call like it was yesterday. And, just with the relationship that we had by then, with how he spoke to me on the day, with him being excited, with me being so desperate, I believed and trusted in what he was saying. And thank God we got on a plane with Mel Sword to Salt Lake City, Utah. Mel had skin issues, major skin issue at that stage. We were looking for something for our health. So really, I suppose, Mel, we fell into this as a byproduct of health challenges we had, but due to a range of events, obviously, and I say it was the business model behind the breakthrough that saved my life, because without those thank you checks, there was no way I could afford the product. When I say I couldn't afford the product, and a lot of people can afford the product, even with what they're doing, but I was living in a van when I lost my health. Suzanne and I were living in a van. We couldn't afford rent, disability, pension, bankrupt, going from, basically the penthouse into the dungeon, from, lifestyle and the life we had with going to a different restaurant every night to losing everything financially. But we've got a breakthrough technology. It's the biggest breakthrough that many people have not heard about. The biggest breakthrough in health that people haven't heard about. We were also attached to this business model, a business model that everybody's heard about, that people don't understand or believe in, which is incredible. And that's just a matter of us educating people, one, on what we've got. I had somebody come to me today and they're all in with selling me this product. They're involved with person I met through LinkedIn. They're on this call and they're boom, boom. And I said, before you get into all this, I said, your product doesn't work effectively or efficiently without ours. Oh, no, that's our product. Listen, but anyway, they built a big business in 2 years, put a lot of hard work, a lot of time into this business, and then hundreds and hundreds of people. By the end of that call, they're ready to come on board with what we're doing because of this breakthrough technology and what it can do for an individual.
So I think during that first visit to Salt Lake City, you kind of had a paradigm shift even in your own health. While they have the product sitting on the conference table, you're sipping it all day long, right?
Yeah. I mean, I said the great thing was with going to Salt Lake City and experiencing the company and the product, we got the product for the best price, didn't we? It was free. That was great at the time. So Bart was just, he was chugging it into me. He was throwing it down my throat, at least half a bottle a day. We were into a lot of product. Going through in 2 years, alkalining and all that, it was just waiting for the right thing, the missing piece to the puzzle, to set everything on fire in my body, to get things moving. And in 3 hours, my body was expelling so much rubbish. I had little spots come through all up on my upper torso. That was a good thing. I always say to people, anybody that experiences anything that's positive on this product is positive. Anybody experiences anything that's negative is positive as well. So all the rubbish is just flying out of my body. Couldn't wait till I went to the restroom or bathroom. And the great thing is, here we are drinking the product that was doing that. But and I was so excited, ripping my shirt open, showing everybody this reaction that was happening from taking this product. But by the next day, the Renew 28 cleared all that up, which was great. So we were hitting it from the outside in as well. But I had a caffeine intolerance for 20 years. Any more than 2 coffees, buckled over with discomfort and bloating all day. That literally went overnight, that issue. And I remember I had half a dozen coffees at breakfast the next morning after taking the product. And I thought these guys in Salt Lake City took the caffeine out of the coffee. Wasn't the case. There was caffeine in that coffee, I'm telling you. And there was no problem with that stomach issue. But the light bulb really went on the third day. The targeted stuff they did in hospital over those 2.5 years, well, at the end of it anyway, where they really targeted things in my abdomen, it damaged all my lungs. So I had trouble breathing and talking, and literally just a few days on the product, my lungs were functioning perfect, which was mind-blowing because that in itself was debilitating. But, you know, multiple injuries from playing sports turning into that issue as we get older, pollen problems. You know, you fast forward from literally October 2014, 12 months on the product, my whole body was rebuilt, and all of these things, these A's to Z's and everything in between, my whole body was rebuilt. But the regret that I do say I have, Ed, and, you know, there's so much scientific validation behind this now. I didn't really get into bringing 2 feet into this camp, into the blue camp, the blue bottle camp. It took me 5 months to make a decision to literally pull the trigger. Really regret, you know, some of those people I could have spoken to that we know now with what this can do. Maybe that detrimental effect, you know, by not opening my mouth. So I say to everybody, don't miss anybody. I talk to absolutely everybody, no matter where they are, from in the street to on the plane to through social media. Every single person on the planet who deserves to know about this should know about this.
I think you've done pretty well making up for any lost opportunities. So I commend you for realizing that the negative breakout stuff that you saw happening was actually positive. Some people think that's a negative thing, and I love what my wife Rebecca says. Can you imagine what's in there that needs to come out? And you were smart enough to know that that was a positive response to the product. So kudos for what you've done, my friend. I think sometimes, Bart, we stand back and we look at you and what you've done with this business, and we feel kind of like the flea riding the elephant's back over the bridge and said, boy, we shook that, didn't we? And truthfully, we're trying to keep up with you. So, but you reached
Absolutely.
out to
Hey, let me just mention one thing, Ed.
Yeah.
I remember at that Salt Lake trip on day 3, we went to an amusement park. Mal was with us on that day. And Dan gets out of the car. He says, man, he said, big grin on his face. He said, I feel like Superman. And he just takes off sprinting across the car park, the parking lot. I had no idea what he was doing. He comes back. He's got this huge grin on his face. And he's not even breathing hard. He said, if I would have tried to do that 2 days ago, I would have been on my hands and knees gasping for air.
Yeah.
And what a change.
And Ed, if you miss this,
I'm sorry, Danny.
Sorry, Ed, if you miss this and you're the missing link, Bart wouldn't have known about this, and I wouldn't know about it, so we wouldn't be here on this call. And Mel and even Jerry wouldn't know about it now. And that's just the chain of events. That's just this incredible business model and what it can do.
And that really underscores the sense of obligation and responsibility that we feel. I know I personally feel that once you're entrusted with the knowledge of something like this, you have a responsibility to make sure that other people, I love what you said, people deserve to know about this, because truthfully, if that chain is broken, there's some folks that need this desperately, praying for it, that would never know about it. So that's a sobering responsibility, but it's a very fulfilling and an enjoyable part of what makes it so rewarding. So you reached out to Mal. Mal, I love your story. Yours was a really circumstantial challenge that I think was forcing you to look for an alternative. So kind of hit the highlights of what was the turning point for you?
You mean bankruptcy?
Well, yeah, everything that kind of went along that. I know you had young kids. You had some young kids you were concerned about, and
there's so many things. I remember that time when we were at that fun park in just outside of Salt Lake City. It was Halloween, 2014. It was Halloween. It was our last day. We were due to fly out, and Doyley ran the other direction. And I'm looking at Bart, and we're saying, "Where's Doyley off to? He's running the wrong way." And then when he came back and he said, "Look at me," and I said, "Well, I'm looking at you." He said, "No, look at me." I said, "Doyley, I'm looking at you." And he wasn't puffing and panting. I don't know. He must have run 60, 70 meters the other way, there and back. But I remember about 6 months before that, maybe 8 months, Doyley and I were presenting with another business down in Melbourne, and Doyley would have to sit down during the presentation. He couldn't breathe properly. So to watch the transformation, he had 3 major transformations in a very short period of time that I watched in those 2 or 3 days we were in Salt Lake City in late October, November it would have been 2014. Let me just share with you some of the thoughts that I had at that stage about why this was probably going to be my last chance, my last shot at the title to engage with this company, to engage with us here. For me, one of the most defining events, one of the most defining things, was meeting Virtus Norton, the founder of this company, one of the most outstanding human beings that I've ever met. And for those of you that have never been in a business like this, or in this industry, you and I don't own the company. You can join, and I've watched over my 31 years in the industry, I've watched people join with companies that had fast success and that put in years and years and years of, countless hours into a business where the technology may have been sound, may have been good, but the owners were ratbags and had no integrity, no morality, no decency, and they closed the company, shut the company down. And so for me, at my age, at that stage, I was 61. You have to ignore what it says on Facebook, by the way, but I was 61 years of age at that stage. And I recognized that this was most likely my last chance to financially make a comeback, because I had gone through bankruptcy. And so I'd lost everything. So at the end of 2015, this was a year later, I couldn't even afford to buy my boys presents, Christmas presents. So it was a very difficult time. So this is now a year after Doyley and I and Bart had been at the fly-in with us here, which was late 2014. But I then watched Doyley. Doyley called me. I was in Brisbane. He was in Sydney, but he was holidaying. I think it was Suzanne's birthday. I think every year he'd go to Byron Bay, and he called me. He said, "Come down and meet me." And there was two things that happened at that meeting. One was, as soon as I walked into the Byron Bay pub, I looked at Doyley. I hadn't seen him for a year since we'd been in Salt Lake City. And the year before, he looked shocking. And here he is. He looked like a box of fluffy ducks. He looked like he was 20 years younger. His face was absolutely glowing. I mean, he was the bastion of good health. I'm thinking, my goodness. Now, he'd been on the product for 12 months. I had not at that stage. He'd been on the product for 12 months. So he did that. I could see clearly just as soon as I saw him. And he showed me some papers. I read some papers that, were showing that he was clear of the condition that he had had and the issues that he'd had health-wise. He showed me the paperwork. But the second thing he did was he opened his back office and showed me what his income was. Now, I'm regarded as a veteran in this industry, and I nearly fell off my chair. What he was making in pre-launch, we hadn't even launched in Australia. This was December the 6th, 2015. We didn't launch in Australia until February 2016. When he opened his back office, I couldn't believe the income that he had generated in pre-launch. Now, he had worked hard for that, but I had never seen a business that you could scale that quickly. And so there was a combination of things and reasons why the timing was right for me, notwithstanding this is a unique technology. We don't have a competitor. From an entrepreneur's point of view, these are some of the things that you want to look at, is that we don't have any competition. We don't have a competitor. I think what most people think about the product, I've heard people that are much more knowledgeable than I am on the product say, whatever you think about this product, Mal, it's probably 10 times better than you realize. And I've watched that in my own organization, the stories and the people that have had dramatic changes in their health over the period of the last 8 years, that you'll never convince me of anything other than this is an incredible breakthrough. I will never see anything like it again. I won't. I'm grateful every single day. I'm grateful that you didn't start 5 years before, Ed, because had you started 5 years ago, most likely the thin thread that led you to Bart, which led you to Doyley, which led to me, may not have happened. So I'm very grateful that you did a long due diligence, a long incubation before you jumped. You may not, you may regret that, but I don't regret it for a second. So I'm very grateful to you. I'm very grateful to Doyley and to you, Bart, for the connections that have been made, the thin threads that connected us, because this opportunity through endeavors, through the effort that we've collectively made, has been allowed personally me to be able to, create a legacy for my children, which is fantastic. I have 8 of them, so I need to generate a big legacy to leave something of substance to these 8 kids. But I could spend a lifetime. I think if you look at all the years that we've been in the industry, you'll never find another ASEA. You will never find at least You might be on the call and you might be 18, and but you might have to wait 50 years before you find another ASEA. But I won't. I'll never see another business like this. I'll never see another opportunity like this. I probably, like most of us on the call, wish that I was 20, 30 years younger, but I can't change that. But I think that probably most of us will maybe live 20 years longer as a result, not just 20 years longer, but 20 years longer and better as a result of this technology. So for me, it's been an incredible gift. I'm so grateful for this opportunity, and it's just been an incredible journey. So, and those are some of the reasons why I onboarded with ASEA.
Thank you, Matt. I wish we had time to talk about some of the humanitarian things that I've seen you do, and the homes you build for some of the needy folks in Tanzania, and just some of the amazing. That's the kind of stuff that's been in your heart all along. But now you have the resources to be able to live out those dreams and those expressions of your compassion for people. So it's an exciting part of watching what's happened with you in this business. So Jerry, you, as I mentioned earlier, you have been on the corporate side of this industry, which has given you, it gave you kind of a unique perspective through which to evaluate ASEA, as opposed to just looking at it as a distributor, as an associate, as the rest of us did. Kind of talk about your experience and what was it for you? I know you've kind of been behind the scenes a lot of times, and you've had a glimpse of what that's like here compared to elsewhere. So talk a little bit about how that was instrumental in you making the decision to be a part of this.
Love to. And isn't it true? We're in the storytelling business. I could just listen to these stories all night long. What a privilege. You're exactly right. I get the extreme pleasure, and it's a blessing. I get to work with Denise every single day. We work our ASEA business together, and make no mistake about it, she's absolutely brilliant. In fact, on our team, most people are calling her the closer, and she's just phenomenal. So I want to give her my gratitude. Both of us, Denise and I, have looked at.
Speak up a little bit, Jerry. Just kind of up your voice a little bit.
Hopefully that's better. Denise and I have looked at ASEA a little bit different, maybe through different glasses. The 3 times that Dan Doyle reached out to me, I asked him the same question every single time. Are they hiring any executives? Because if there was one company still to this day, after being an associate for the last 2 years, let me share a couple things. For everybody that's on this call as an associate, do not take for granted the executive team, the staff, everybody associated with ASEA. Don't take them for granted. They are world class. A very, very good friend of mine works for one of the headhunting companies that find executives for our industry. There's only about 3 of them, and they do a fairly good job. I should know. I've reached out to them many, many times. And here's a fact. As executives in this industry, the average year of employment for a company is about 2 to 3 years. Well, take a look at our executives. Look how long Scott's been there, Frank, Daryl, all the people, Linda Luther, every single person that touches our life and our business on a day-to-day business. It's amazing. That isn't normal in this industry. So be very thankful for that. Second of all, there's a reason why I'm wearing my Red Bull Formula One shirt today. And as you know, for those people, Mel went and grabbed his jacket because he wanted to represent as well. About 4 years ago, I became a fan of Formula One racing. Now, why am I talking about this? Every single person on this screen, Alan Noble, Trish, Denny Robinson, and so many others, every single person that is on the wall of fame in the ASEA corporate office, they're the legends. I relate them as being world-class Formula One race drivers. Now, where is ASEA for a person that's been a corporate executive for 22 years? ASEA right now, and Alan Noble, dear, oh man, our executives, all the way down the line, they talk about every company goes through 3 phases: ridicule, opposition, and acceptance. Well, if you're a race car driver like the Red Bull team and Max Verstappen, the world-class champion, you want to be in pole position. That means every race you're starting at number 1. You have to qualify for that. I'm here to let everybody know, in my personal opinion, ASEA is now in pole position. You have the greatest chance to win that race when you start in pole position, because many times the race is won or lost in the first lap. So be grateful. Tyler Norton is definitely the second reason why we're here today. When I saw him for the first time virtually in Las Vegas, 20 minutes later, I said something that I've never said to Denise before. She was sitting right next to me. I looked at her and I said, we want to be distributors here. I think we found our home. And there's no question we have. So my suggestion, after listening to these incredible stories, I'll use Tyler's couple words he says. I pick up on his etymology. He has shared that with me. Etymology is the study of words. And when you listen to him speak, again, don't take it for granted. In 22 years, being with executives, traveling the world with them, that's when you get to know them. There's nobody like Tyler. Never have met a person like him, with his heart, his knowledge, just everything about him. Notice he talks about top spin. This isn't a company of top spin. This isn't a company of head fakes. If you've ever played basketball or football, other companies like to give you the head fake. It's here today, we make a move, it's gone, it's changed tomorrow. And then one of the most astounding ones, and we like to share with our team right now, especially with race car driving or driving a clutch car, take your foot. Do not ride the clutch. You won't win any races when you're riding the clutch. And then I'll end on this. At Ascent. Ascent for us, 2 years in a row is at Ascent in over 30 years. It's the only 2 trips we ever won in this industry in 30 years. Because as an executive, we were working all the events. But Tyler shared with us, and we've taken it upon our message, not only as a team, but everybody we meet. We've eliminated good luck out of our vocabulary. Never tell a person good luck. We've transformed, we've changed it to now saying, I believe in you. So for everybody on this call, ASEA, we believe in ASEA. We believe in you.
Great points, Jerry. You know, I was thinking as we kind of get near the end of our time here on this call, if we were to transition into business building tips here, we could go on for hours between all of us. But Mal, I'd like to come to you, and because you've really been able to condense in a succinct way some of the keys to scaling a business like this. I mean, Mal, by the way, I don't know if I mentioned this, Triple Ambassador Diamond, which is one of the highest achieved ranks in the company. But you've got some points, you call them keys to scaling a business like this, Mal. And could you just share that with the folks that are listening here? Just some keys if they decide they wanted to sink their teeth into the sharing part of this, which of course it's a big part of what ASEA is. How would you condense some of the key points to scale a business?
So sure. So I'm off mute. So I don't know if you can see this diagram. This is generally how I share it with people. Is that there are 3 keys in the 31 years that I've been in the industry. There are 3 major keys, and I draw it like this, like a 3-legged stool. And the reason I do that is that if you take one of the legs away, it's going to fall over. So the 3 keys are equally important. The first one is the dream, having a very clear reason, a very clearly established emotional driver. Number 2 is personal growth. And number 3, maybe I'm getting them the wrong way around. Number 3 is doing the work. and there's substance behind each of those. So one of the keys that I explained with having a dream is it's a little bit like playing soccer without any goalposts. You can have some fun, but it only makes sense when you've got a post, a goal, something to aim for. And what I've watched over the years, the 31 years, is that dream needs to be emotional. It needs to be very selfish, because the motivator must motivate the motivator. Nobody else can motivate us. We have to motivate ourselves to build the dream. One of the things I just would like to share as well is that because we have such a unique technology, and we do, and it's a compelling technology, it's probably 15, 20 years ahead of its time. It is. It's the way that you build the business is to, I use an analogy like going into a hardware store, like over here I go into Home Depot. I love Home Depot. Go to Home Depot to buy an electric drill. You say, well, I want a really good electric drill. I want the best electric, shiniest electric drill that I can find in Home Depot. And you find that, but you don't actually want the electric drill. What you want is what the electric drill can do. And whilst a Seer is, I believe, the shiniest business, the best opportunity I'll ever see, and I think for most of it, all of us on this panel, we agree it's the best. It's the reason that we engage with a Seer is, what will it do? What is the reason that I need a drill? It's a hole in the wall. So for me, when people say, why did I engage with a Seer personally? It was for freedom. If you said, what was the reason? I wanted to be free. That was the first thing. The second leg of the stool, and that's to me 90% of the dream, is 90% of the reason you'll build a big business, scale a big business, is your reason, is your dream. If you talk to 20 of the top 20 business builders with a Seer, they've all got a different how to build the business. Everyone's going to have a different how, but they'll all have a dream. They'll all have a reason. Be different, but they'll all have a reason. The second leg of the stool is personal growth, and the best descriptions of this are quotes I can give you from the late Jim Rohn. I'm listening to him at the moment. It's called The Ultimate Jim Rohn Library. If you want to listen to something that will help you phenomenally with a business like this, listen to this. Listen to that. It's called The Ultimate Jim Rohn Library. The pearls of wisdom from this man are just everything he says. But one of the things he says was, if you want more, become more. If you want more, become more. The other thing I learned this week was, you don't pursue success, you become success. You don't pursue success, you become success. Success comes through us and who we become, who we are. And so the third part, so that's the second leg of the stool. A third leg of the stool, which is where I think most people that I've watched in the 31 years have an issue, have a problem, and don't scale the business the way they want, is to do the work. But here's for those of you that want to scale this, here's the $1 million key, the $1 million secret. The work must be consistent, especially in the early years. And what are the early years in order to scale a business like this? They'll go somewhere between 18 months to 5 years. So to achieve financial independence, 18 months to 5 years. And in that formative time, you have to be consistent with your effort. Consistent. I was super consistent with building my Seer business for 3 years. Your degree of how far you'll go and how much income you'll generate will largely depend on the level of consistency. I've watched a lot of people over the years probably do as much work in their business as some of the diamonds, but they never string it together. So they'll go hard for 3 months, and then they'll stop for 3 weeks or a month or 2 months, and then they'll start again. They'll go to an event, they'll get re-energized, re-excited, and they'll start again. They'll go for another 2 months, 3 months, 4 months, and then they'll stop again. You can't build a business. This business, you can write this one in blood. This business, this industry hates inconsistency, especially in those early years. It just does not like it at all. It cannot be built that way. It's a little bit like going up an escalator that's coming down, and you walk up 10 stairs on the escalator that's coming down, and then you stop, you're back down to zero. And you get back on it again, I think I'll have another crack at it. You go another 10 steps, come back again. And I watch people do this over and over and over. And if you want to encapsulate the word, and people don't like this word, I understand why they don't like this word, but here's the word. It's discipline. There you go. Nobody likes it, but you're going to pay the discipline of being a millionaire or multimillionaire or success, or you will pay the price of regret if you are not disciplined in a business like this. Nobody likes that word. I understand it, But there's the word that will determine you how far you'll go and how well you build and scale your ASEA business. You become disciplined for a year, 2 years. Where does discipline come from? It comes from your dream. It comes from your reason. It comes from your passion. It comes from what you want. And you have to have that dream because I heard somebody say this years ago, and I absolutely agree with it. You have to want the result of building a business more than you don't want to do it. Because none of us like the rejection. It's like, you build a big business, you're going to deal with rejection. Nobody really likes that. And sometimes you get to a place of, why am I doing this? Why am I dealing with all this rejection? If you haven't got an answer at that time, probably you'll go. So you have to be able to answer that question with, this is why I'm doing this. This is why I'm pursuing this business, this career.
I know, Mal, you've been a real fan of audibles, listening to audible books. I would really love to have the list of audibles that are kind of your highlight list. I know you've got that list someplace. If you'll get that to me, I'll make sure it gets out to the listening audience here, because that Mal's library of audibles is a gold mine. It's a treasury of knowledge and wisdom and life skills. So I'd love to get that out to everybody. If you'll send that to me, I'll make sure that Jim and Ann and Dr. Maureen get it, and we'll get it out to the world. Okay?
I'll send you some of them. I'm up to about 130 right now, so it's probably a bit big, but I'll give you the first 3 that I share with people as they get started. If you're starting on the journey, there's 3 that I recommend, and then there's about another 10 after that I've found very helpful in my own journey.
Great. Yeah. Love to get it out. Jim and Ann, we got just a couple of minutes. I don't know if you've got a hard stop here after an hour or not, but I just want to mention, one of the analogies that I like to think of. I'm an old surfer. I was a surfer as a teenager growing up in South America, and it's been a long time since I've been on a board, but I love looking at the kind of the evolution of that sport. Danny, you spent some time in Hawaii. That statue is of, Duke Kahanamoku there. And back then they were riding these big, wooden planks that were just like riding an aircraft carrier, it seems like. And but the evolution of the sport over time, when they figured out how to make boards of lighter material, when I was surfing, it was 9-10 foot boards. Then they came out with the short ones that are much more maneuverable. But the challenge had always been they knew there were big waves that they would love to be able to capture and to ride. There's a great documentary, by the way, called Riding Giants. Just go watch that documentary, Riding Giants. But the big waves that they knew would really give the thrill of a lifetime they moved too fast. You couldn't paddle fast enough to catch them. And finally, somebody figured out that you could tow somebody into a wave with a jet ski, and that opened up the possibility of riding bigger waves than anybody had ever ridden before. I say all that to say to all of you that are kind of watching this, the wisdom that you're hearing here tonight or today, whenever you're listening to this, the people that you're listening, these are the jet skis. If you'll capture and hang on to what you're hearing here, you'll be able to ride waves in life and have the experience and the exhilaration that may have seemed impossible on your own. So just grab a hold of the talent that you're hearing, the wisdom that you're hearing here, and let it kind of pull you into a life experience that would have been elusive in generations past. So I'd love to just round robin and real quick, some sound bites of kind of wrap up points. We haven't talked about where we think we're going as a company or the industry where it's going, but just some things that would be kind of closing comments from each of you. Bart, we'll go to you. You're you're muted there, friend. Unmute.
Okay, couple little nuggets of advice that I'd like to share is actually what Eric Worre says. All you need to be successful is to be hungry, have a vision, have a dream, like Mal said, find out what you're passionate about and hang on to that. Second thing is being willing to go to work. And the other thing is be coachable. This is a team sport. Don't do it all yourself. And everything along with that is being coachable and so forth. Don't treat this like a hobby. I want you to think of this as ASEA as you are ASEA, okay? This is your business. Think of yourself as being the owner of a multi-million-dollar business. Realize that you have all this incredible research and resources behind you, and ASEA is cheering all of us on all the way. So we're a partnership working together. Don't get in and think, I've got this little distributorship on the side. This is this is an opportunity of a lifetime, but it's only going to be as big as you can imagine it to be. So vision So the thing is realize that you're worth it. And when you have a clear vision of where you want to go, it's attractive. People will be attracted to what you have. And the other thing is just, treat it like a business. And Val, you said it best, being consistent. So just make a decision, make a clear decision, and then be consistent with that decision. We really are at a remarkable time. I'll just say one last thing. Right now, the world is changing, and they're trying to put legislation in to make it so people that are independent, that want to have their own life, like let's say truck drivers or Uber drivers or whatever, that all of a sudden they have to be employees of somewhere. Well, that's what they got in business for, to get away from that, so that they can have their own independence, their own life, their own destiny. Instead of being tracked and traced in every way, shape, and form. Every single day I wake up and I am so unbelievably grateful. I mean, literally, Melissa and I just pinch ourselves. You can't believe where we're able to live, and we're able to work with who we want, where we want, when we want. And the freedom that comes with an industry like this is remarkable. Ed, you said it before, the time to dig your well is before you need it. And so, man, if you can create a residual income of business like this, people don't understand the power of what this is until they create it. But it does take some time, it takes some work, but there's no better time than right now.
Exactly. Dan Doyle, any parting comments?
Just to reiterate, I've said it many, many times that ASEA is the most compelling opportunity that we'll ever see when it comes to helping somebody to maintain their health, potentially regain their health, and to help them with their financial anxiety. I believe with our opportunity, it's the business model that we need to pivot, to move, for us to evolve into with these times, building a home-based business. A business where we can work remotely and make money while we're asleep. Everybody has to look at going that way. It's critical and crucial in these times. So the economy is not that great at the moment, and things could be getting worse. The thing that I love, I've been on the Global Advisory Council for 7 years now. I just love the fact that, one, we've got former Fortune 50 executives that are behind this with all their experience. You tell me of another company that has that. Our product, breakthrough technology, it started with a product. It didn't start with the business first, and then the product came in. And I know I can go to sleep tonight, put my head on the pillow, wake up tomorrow morning, knowing that the company hasn't done the wrong thing by us and never will.
Yeah, that's great. Jerry, any parting thoughts? You have to unmute, Jerry.
I'll sum it up in 7 words. These are my words for 2024. Most of them have come from our founder, Tyler Norton. Gratitude, inspire, extraordinary, who, as in who, not how, invest, as in invest in yourself, potential, and amity. That sums up where we are with ASEA.
Yeah, great. So hopefully if you're watching this on a recorded basis or live, that your imagination has kind of been loosened up a little bit, and you can be like the kid that you were way back when you could dream about anything without limitation. This company really can deliver. I'll give you one quote, and I'll turn it back to Jim and to Ann and to Dr. Maureen. I love this quote. It simply says, things come to those who wait, but only what's left over from those who hustle. So get out there and hustle. And the world's waiting. The world's waiting. They need this. People absolutely need to know what we've been blessed to learn. We have an obligation and a responsibility to tell the world that we found something. So Dr. Maureen and Jim and Ann, I know Dr. Lee's not here tonight, but thank you guys for hosting this Redox 5 call on a weekly basis and giving us the privilege to be a part of the agenda on this particular occasion. Thank you.
This is wonderful.
Yeah, I'm speechless. I've got pages of notes.
Yeah. Yes.
What's so amazing about this is that we usually interview medical professionals on Friday night. And let me just give a disclaimer. I forgot to do it at the beginning of the call. This is not a medical company. These are not medical products. Excuse me. They're not meant to cure, treat, prevent anything. What we're doing is empowering the body to heal itself. This is a bioreplenishment all natural, something that's innate to your body. And these are bioidentical molecules that we're putting back in. And what the body can do with that when you give it the tools is nothing short of miraculous. But I have to say that this has been incredibly impactful. I could listen to you guys all night. I want to bring each one back, Jim and Han, like individually, so we could spend an hour picking your brain and talking to you about the impact that this has had in your lives and that you're making in other people's lives as well. So I just feel so incredibly blessed. But one thing, Mal, did we hear your last words? Did he give us?
No, probably I went on too long before. Can I just share one story? I love this story. All of you know I'm not from a medical background. I make no pretense that I'm from a medical background or an expert, but I want to share this story with you, which is specifically about the product, not the business, but the product. I have in Australia, in the Blue Mountains, my dear old auntie, she's 94. Her health today, she's been on the product now 8 years. She drinks gallons of the Redox. She uses tons of the gel because her favorite nephew pays for it. Her only nephew, by the way, pays for it. Well, about 2 years ago, she was 92. She went to see her optometrist. I should also say she's been putting the Redox in her eyes probably for 5 years. She went to see the optometrist. She's 92 years of age, went to see her optometrist. And her optometrist said to her, I've got good news and I've got bad news. And my dear old auntie said, well, what's the good news? And she said, and her optometrist said to her, you've got 20/20 vision in your left eye. And my auntie's never had 20/20 vision in her left eye. And how many people do you or anybody else know whose eyesight as they get older improves? So my auntie said, well, what's the bad news then? She said, well, you'll need a new pair of glasses. And one of the things I'm seeing now, 8 years in the business, some of the long-term benefits that I'm seeing of people being on this product, which I have to be compliant, but I like, are you serious? Like, wow, some of the things I'm seeing is just incredible. Let me just share this last thing with you. I've shared this with you before. If you make a fortune out of building an ASEA business, it's your fault. And if you make nothing out of building your ASEA business, it's your fault. Every one of us, you included on the call, there's 207 people, 307 people on the call, 297. Every one of us has the same opportunity. The business is inert. It's the same. We all have the same business, the same business model, the same technology, different countries, but people that are the same around the world. It's who we are and how we deliver this to people that makes the difference. This is not about sales. This is about education and communication. Educate and communicate, educate and communicate. And the business is inert. Every single one of you can build businesses bigger than ours. Some of you that are younger should sail way past some of us that are the wrong side of 60. So I'm going to be the wrong side of the other one soon. It is just incredible. And I just want to express my gratitude to Jim and Glenn, Maureen, for, I know you run this every single week. So thank you. It's incredible. Thank you to Ed, Doyley and Bart. I always want to say a special thanks to you guys because I don't know really what I would be doing today had it not been for you guys. So I'm very grateful for this opportunity again. So, but thank you. I hope that was helpful. I wanted to share my auntie story.
Thanks for sharing.
Again, I'm speechless. I don't know what to say. Ed, could you introduce, Kathy Painter, for next week?
Yeah.
Yeah. Kathy is a naturopath in California. Brilliant lady. Really understands this technology. She's very articulate. She's passionate about what this technology is, especially in light of some of the maladies that have afflicted a lot of the population over the last few years. I'll just say that much. But you definitely want to hear, if she's your guest next week on this call, you definitely want to hear Kathy Painter, Dr. Kathy Painter. She's a real powerful communicator about the benefit of this technology.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to it. I follow her on Instagram, so
yeah.
I always enjoy it.
It's interesting. I'll just say her parents live in Pinehurst, North Carolina. And she comes out here occasionally to just visit her parents in this beautiful, quaint little village. And she literally, walking in the door one day, stumbled over this box that was kind of sitting in the mudroom or the entryway. and she literally stumbled over this box. And she said to her dad, what is this? Oh, he said, that's some stuff that Pope Dylan gets to me, and I drink it. He wants me to drink it every day. And so she picks it up and begins to look at it and does a little bit of homework. He says, Dad, this is amazing. You do need to be drinking this stuff. So she literally stumbled into ASEA.
That's awesome.
No pun intended.
Yeah.
Ed, thank you.
Thanks.
All of you guys, with my deepest heart of gratitude. And I think it was Bart, or no, whoever it was. We're here because of one man. And I want to give my deepest gratitude to the Norton family and to what Virtus Norton did. I'm alive because of this. And it just shakes me to my core that we are all here because of one person. And one person had the guts.
That's awesome.
One person had the guts to say yes. He had the courage. He was curious. And if you cannot listen to these men and with Maureen and Lee and Ann and everything that we've done, and if this doesn't move you, then I'm sorry, pass it off to someone else. But please get back to the one that got you on this call. Do not waste this opportunity. There's so much here. There's so much to be done. We're in 33 countries. We're 15 years old. Bart, you said 7 months, I believe, debt free. There's nothing like this. I'm an ex-stockbroker of 30 years. I have never seen, Mal, I'm sure you as well. I've done a lot of IPOs. You'll never find anything like this ever again. So please get back to the one, do your due diligence, make a decision, make it today.
Yeah.
Get back, get on it, do this. Don't miss this. And Ed Weens, we love you, brother. Thank you. Danny, Bart, Jerry, and Mal Sword. I definitely want to get you back on, all of you, but Mal, you're pretty cool. We almost lost everything as well, Bart. But Mal, I mean, that's why your story really and well, all of y'all, we almost lost everything. My health as well. And but listening to you, Mal, it brings it home. It brings it home. So thank you. Thank you, guys. I could go on forever. So this recording will be up at redoxmatters.com shortly, as soon as Dr. Osler gets back from, I think he's even at home with the grandkids. So
Yeah, he is.
God bless. We'll be back here next Friday. Thank you guys so much. We love all of you. Please get back to the one that got you on this call and get on this technology. Thank you, guys. God bless.
Appreciate
You're so
you.
wonderful.
See you
Bye,
soon.
everybody. See you next week.
Bye. Yes.
Good night.
Thank you.
Good night. Good night.
Bye.
Good night.